Hello everyone, welcome back to this channel. We are studying class 10 mathematics in the chapter number 14 statistics. So in this chapter the main topics will be first of all the introduction part in which we will see all the related terms. Then three things that are measures of central frequencies, that means mean, mode and median, are very important. So first of all we will focus more on median. In this video we will study what is the mean, and then we will see one by one the methods, like direct method, how to use it, and few sums related to these questions. So let us start with the introduction part. Every day we come across a lot of information in the form of fact, figures, tables, graph, charts, etc. Now, what is the source? We get these fact and figures from newspapers, mostly now TV channels, internet, magazines, websites, etc. You take examples, there are numerous examples for this. Let us take cricket match statistics, any batsman or bowler statistic, run rate comparison, that is also done. Then in you take pandemic, the current situation, cases per day, death, discharge patients, etc. In any company, the sales, revenue, profit, loss. In election, even in this process, voters, voting percentage, number of seats won or lost by numbers. Let us take another example of school. That means number of students, the performance of them, results, grade, fee collection, etc. These all are the facts and figures which may be represented by tables, graph or charts. So you see, these fact or figure, which are numerical or otherwise, they are collected with a definite purpose. This is known as data. Now, data is the plural form of the Latin word datum. So that means we have formed this word by Latin word. Of course, the word data is not new for you. We have also studied this in our previous standards. So this leads us to the definition of the chapter title, that means statistic. What is statistic? It is a branch of mathematics which deals with the collection, organization, analysis, and interpretation of data. See, our world is becoming more and more information oriented. Every part of our life utilizes data in one form or the other. So, it becomes essential for us to know how to extract the meaningful information from such data. So, that is only studied in statistics. So, the statistics, it extracts meaningful conclusion from the data. It is used in many sectors like geology, sociology, psychology, weather forecasting, commerce, sports and budget, etc. Many things are there. Now, moving on to the first part. You see, the first part was collection of data. So let us see some related terms related to collection of data. For example, primary data. If the information is collected by the person, the investigator himself or herself, with a definite purpose in mind, then it is called primary data. Sometimes it is also called raw data. Let us take an example, like if you want to find out, or if you go to find out number of trees in the school campus, that will be collected or that will be known to you by yourself. You will be counting, you will be going and counting it, right? So this is primary data. Next will be secondary data. That means when the information is gathered by any source where it was already stored, so the data collected will become secondary data. For example, number of books in school library. You won't have to go and calculate, or you have to count every book in the library because that is huge. So you will just ask to the librarian and he or she will give you the information. So you are not directly collecting the data, you are just gathering from a source. So it is secondary data. Now, data is also classified in other two ways, quantitative and qualitative. If it is quantitative, it contains numerical information. If it is qualitative, it is descriptive information. Right? Moving on to the next important part, that is range. What is range? It is the difference between maximum value and the minimum value in the given set of observation or data. So let us take an example. You see in the bracket 5 different observations are there: 5, 67, 8, 23 and 88. In that the minimum is 5 and the maximum is 88. So if you want to find out range, you will have to subtract minimum from maximum. So 88 minus 5 is 83. What is frequency? See, the number of times any observation is repeated in any data becomes the frequency. How many times that specific value is repeated. So for example, if we have few observations like 2, 4, 6, 6, 6, 7, 16, 7. If you want to find out the frequency of 6, so how many times 6 is repeated as an observation? 3 times. So the frequency of 6 will be 3. Clear? So moving on, finding the mean, we will see what are ungrouped data called discrete data and why do we need to group the data. So let us start with ungrouped data, data in which there is fixed value given along with the frequency, that will be ungrouped data. So let us take an example of marks obtained by 20 students in a test of 50 marks. So we have prepared a table. You see, out of 50 marks, there are few common marks that students have got: 8, 10, 17, 22, 29, 32, 35, 38, 45. The frequencies are given me 8. Number of students who got 8 marks is only 1, while number of students who got 10 marks are 2. That means 2 students have got 10 out of 50. Likewise, the table is prepared. So how to find out the mean in this case? You see, it is ungrouped data. So let us prepare a frequency distribution table in which the first will be the marks, which is also called class xi, 8, 10, 17 up to 45. The frequency, it is already given in the question, and also the total is given, so we need to do the total over here. Now let us start with the most important part, that is fi into xi, means frequency into marks or marks into frequency. So we will do 8 into 1 in the first row. You see 8 ones are 8. Then in the second row we have to do 10 into 2, that is 20. Same way 17 ones are 17 and so on. At the end, you need to do the total of this fi into xi also. So we have got two highlighted numbers. One is fi xi and another one is summation of fi, means total of fi. Let us start with putting the formula how to calculate mean. In this case, mean, over here I am using this symbol as mean. It is sum of observations upon total number of observations. That means summation of fi xi upon summation of fi. So you see 562 divided by 20, it will give you the answer 28.1. So this is how we calculate mean if it is ungrouped data. Now moving on to group data, you see if in the previous method the calculation was so large, so to prevent such a large amount of data so that a reader can make sense of it very easily, we condense that into various groups. These groups are called classes or class interval, and their size is called class size or class width. Let us take an example. 15 to 20 is a class interval or class in which the number 15 represents the lower limit, number 20 represents the upper limit. And what is the class size? What is the difference? It is 5. So 5 will become the class size. Now let us take the same question and now we will be forming different groups. So the question remains the same, but instead now we will have to form groups. So let us see how we will write it in a table. First of all, we will have a column of class over here. You see, we will form groups over here. Then frequency will be repeated, and note that frequency will have to be recalculated. Then a new column called class marks will be added. I'll tell you what to do, and end of it will be fi into xi. Okay, so now let us see how 50 marks are divided into various class or groups. So right now what I have done, 0 to 10 the first group, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40 and 40 to 50. You see the number of rows in the class column has now decreased. So we are making this easy. Now just see 0 to 10, how many students are scoring below 10. This 10 is repeated on the next class as well. You see there are few rules. First of all, you see this is continuous data because the number is repeated 0 to 10, then 10 to 20. There is no gap in between, so continuous data distribution. Now very important, upper limit of the first class becomes the lower limit of next class. So whenever a number is repeated like that, we will consider it in the next class only. For example, you see 10 over here is there. So whether to take in this group or in this group, in which class we will have to consider 10. So always we will be considering it in the next class. Okay. So 10 is counted over here. So up to 10 there is only one student. Now from 10 to 20, that means these both will come. Okay. 10 and 17. So how many students are scoring 10 as well as 17? Total 3 students. Same way, between 20 to 30, there are two numbers 22 and 29. On overall 8 students are there, so I've written 8 over here. Between 30 to 40 we have 3 different class. We'll have to add all 3, becomes 6. And then finally between 40 to 50 there are only 2 students. So frequency is rearranged but the total remains the same. Now what is class mark? If you see over here, class mark is the average of upper limit and lower limit of any class. That means if we want to find out class mark over here, we will have to add these both, 0 plus 10 upon 2. What is 0 plus 10 upon 2? 5. Same way 10 plus 20 upon 2, 30 by 2 is 15. So 5, 10, 25, 35, 45 will be the class mark. This number basically represents a central value of this class. Okay. Now the last column is FI/XI. Now just multiply this frequency with this class mark. So 1 into 5, 5, 3 15s are 45, 8 25s are 200, and likewise we complete the column and finally add them. So this is summation of FI/XI. This is summation of FI. Now let us calculate. The formula remains the same. Summation of FI/XI upon FI. What is the total over here? 550 upon 20, and the answer is 27.5. So this is how in the direct method, using the grouping pattern, we calculate the mean. Clear? So there are few points to be taken into consideration in direct method. First of all, class interval and frequency will already be given in the question. Prepare the frequency distribution table in which there must be 4 columns. First will be class, then frequency, then class mark, and then finally Fi into Xi. Class mark will be the average of upper limit and lower limit of any class. Do the total of frequency Fi and Fi/Xi and use it in the formula of direct method. Note that I have told you what is continuous frequency distribution. Even if the continuous frequency distribution is not there, there is a gap, this method will remain the same. The formula of calculation of mean will remain the same. Moving on with few examples. So let us take an example. A survey was conducted by a group of students as a part of their environmental awareness program in which they collected the following data regarding the number of plants in 20 houses in a locality. So you see, as I said, the classes will be given in the question as well as the frequency will be given. So let us prepare a table. First of all, from the question you will be writing this much plants which comes in the class and frequency is given. The total already given in the question, if you add them, it will be 20 only. Moving on to our next important column, that is class mark. As I have already told, you will have to do the average. So 0 plus 2 by 2 is 1. Same way you will prepare the whole column. Moving on to next part, that is Fi/Xi. You just have to multiply frequency and class mark. 1 ones are 1, 2 threes are 6, 1 fives are 5, and so on. Finally, as per the next step, we will have to do the total of Fi/Xi and Fi. Moving on with the formula part, calculation of mean, summation of Fi/Xi upon Fi. 162 upon 20, that is 8.1. So the mean number of plants per house comes out to be 8.1. Clear? Now moving on to another example. This is from the exercise question number 8. The teacher has following absentee record of 40 students for the whole term. We will have to find out the mean number of days a student was absent. So this is the information given in the question. Let us start with the class interval. Note that the class size is variable, means 0 to 6 it is 6, the class size is 6, but over here the next 6 to 10 the class size is only 4. So class size is not continuous variable class size, but still our method will remain the same. So we have prepared from the question the first two column, class interval and frequency. The xi, that means class mark, the midpoint, is prepared according to the formula. Even though the variable are there, but we will have to use the original average formula, right? Moving on to the last column, fi xi, multiply these two and find out the total. Total will always be written in the bottom part. Fi will be totaled and fi xi will be total. Moving on with the formula, fi xi 499 upon 40, that is 12.475. You can also round it off to 12.48. Both the answers will be considered correct. Moving on to our next example. Over here, please take care that the values are given in two decimals, right? So whenever you are doing any calculation, please do it very perfectly. Like calculation of midpoint, you see, very perfectly done. 0.00 plus 0.04 upon 2, that is 0.02. Don't be confused in this part. And same as I said, there is decimal over here. So whenever you are multiplying for the last column, you multiply it very carefully. So here we are 0.02 into 4, 0.08 and so on. Finally do the total. Okay. Decimal is there. So again, while doing the total, you take care of the decimal. Moving on with the formula, fi xi upon fi 2.96 upon 30 gives 0.0986. You can also round it off to 0.099. Clear? So this is how we are solving numericals related to mean by direct method. Let us take one more example. Now here the example is little bit specific, very special and important for board exams in point of view. You see, there is little bit difference in the question. In the question, they have already given the mean pocket allowance, means the mean is already given. We just have to find out the missing frequency that is given as f. Okay, so this is an example of unknown frequency calculation, but we will try to follow the same method. Just keep calm and prepare the frequency distribution table. So now I have written the first two column as per the given information, but you take care that when you are adding for fi, you will have to keep this unknown frequency aside whenever you are doing the total. Okay, don't write 44f because that is multiplication of 44 and f. Here, while what you are doing while moving top to bottom, you are just adding. Okay, so this will be 44 of all these numbers and f will be written afterwards. Okay, so keep in mind this thing. Midpoint will be calculated by using the formula upper limit plus lower limit by 2, so that is average. So I've written this 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22 and 24. Note that what you are doing, you are just adding these two and dividing it by 2, means 21 plus 23, that is 44. 44 divided by 2 is 22. Likewise you prepare xi. Last one, again you take care. In fi xi there will be one value which will have the variable. For example, 7 into 12 is 84. Okay, 6 14s are 84, 9 16s are 144, 13 18s are 234, but f into 20 is 20 into f, so 20f. Remaining again 5 into 22 110, 4 into 24 96. So first of all, add all the numbers and then finally you write the number with the variable. 20f will be written separately. Okay. Now as per the steps we have calculated everything. Now just time to put everything in the formula. Take care of all these steps which you are going to see. So we will start with the formula. X bar equals to fi xi upon fi. Just put everything as per the place. Means mean is given, so 18 is kept over here, is equal to 752 plus 20f upon 44 plus f. What I am doing is I am taking this 44 plus f on the other side and will multiply it with 18. So next step will be 18 into 44 plus f equals to 752 plus 20f. So right now what I will be doing, I will be multiplying 18 and 44 and then I will be multiplying 18 and f. So that will become 792 plus 18f. Here the next part will be repeated. Now I am taking 752 on the other side. So this will become minus and I am taking 18f towards 20. So it will become minus. So next step will be 792 minus 752. Note that this comes over here, sign change. 18f goes on this side, sign change. So what is left in the calculation part is over here we have 40 and over here we have 2f. So if 40 equals to 2f, what is f? It is 40 by 2, that is 20. So these kind of questions are bit different and tough than the normal ones, but again this is an important question for board exam. So take care while doing and practice more sums. So this is how let us end this video, and I'm leaving you with two questions. One is ungroup data, and again you have to find the mean. Next question is given related to group data, and again you have to find out the mean. And once you find out, comment the answer, both the answers you have to comment. And sometimes in direct method calculation are a bit lengthy and complex, so to reduce the calculation part we use another method called assume mean method. We will see that method in detail and related questions in the next video. Till then, keep practicing, subscribe and share this